Hey, peace, world. I had to jump in with some bite down boxing talk. Got to keep it moving, so I'm going to keep it brief. Last night, I mentioned earlier in the week, I was extremely excited about this last night's fights. Welterweight, rising welterweight, or welterweight sensation, the future of the welterweight division, possibly. Jaron Boots Ennis destroyed Custio Clayton. And then also shout out to Jermell Charlo for becoming the first super welterweight undisputed champion with his 10th round knockout of Brian Castano. Just getting to starting with the co-main event, Jaron Ennis uh, taking apart Clayton relatively easily. I've said before, I don't like to use I don't like to say that any fighter fears another fighter and somebody is scared of someone else. I don't like to throw that around. But you heard Bozy, Jerron's father, he was like, look at his eyes. And he said, he's like, he's scared. And I think it's definitely, when you get into the, relative to boxing, I think you get it. I think fighters can get in there against a guy that's more talented, younger, stronger, faster, quicker, uh, more violent, etc., etc. I think, dudes become unsteady. They're unable to be what they normally would be. I mentioned earlier in the week they had a mutual opponent in Sergey Lipinets. We know that Boots Ennis knocked out Lipinets in 6 rounds or 5 rounds or whatever it was. Lipinets and Clayton went the distance, and it was a split draw or something. And Clayton looked like a solid boxer against Lipinets, who may have deserved that decision. We get in here against Boots, and he was real gun shy. Uh, it was only like a moment or two, a time or two where he tried to actually like settle in and think about boxing with Boots a little bit. But otherwise, he just was. I wouldn't go along with the big fish, Errol Spence Jr. that he just came to get a check. I wouldn't go that far, but again, we talking about a dude who knows the sport in Errol Spence Jr. But I just think the kid just poses problems to these guys. And he comes over, Custio Clayton, after being knocked out, he comes over and says, I had to do it. I had to do it. I had to, with nobody else fight you or whatever he said. So that's I think that's just a testament or indicative of how great, not I don't want to say great, how much potential Boots has. And what I love about the kid, man, is that I really don't even feel like, I know it was some complaints early on, showboating a little bit too much and this and that. But I'm actually digging his mantra of I get in and out like a robbery. And I don't get, a lot of dudes say I don't get paid. We don't get paid for overtime. But when you see somebody with all the attributes and the skill set that he has, and his height for the division, his age, quickness, and everything that he had that he brings to bear. When you look at all of these things in front of you, and then he just keeps the game so simple. He just went to work with his jab and pace. Really didn't even get to throw a ton of right hands. But Clayton just didn't have a chance. When you can't force the kid into a mistake, you can't make him uncomfortable. You don't have the power. You can't catch him. His footwork is great. His length is great. Like everything was a problem for Clayton. Lastly, to move on to the champion to the main event, it's kind of a similar situation with Delorme with the getting hit behind the head, and it wasn't really an illegal blow, in my opinion. But these guys, like I said, both of these guys were forced into reacting in ways that they don't normally react because of who they're facing and what he brings to the table, and he makes these guys uncomfortable. So they do things they wouldn't normally do, and Clayton goes to dip really low behind, to get away from a punch, not having anywhere to go at this point, and he gets caught on the side of the head, and you could tell that he was badly disoriented. I mean, he was almost trying to do a headstand. It was almost like his world was flipped upside down in the multiverse or something, because he went to go do a headstand. He couldn't even figure out where he was. So you kind of knew the fight was over with. But good performance by Boots. Like I said, man, when you can keep it very simple and don't even have to go into you don't have to go too deep in your bag. Nobody knows what you can really do at this level. When you can just go in there and beat a dude and set a dude up with your jab, and then the first time or second time you touch him with the right hand, that speaks for itself. And it's going to take, honestly, it's going to take a dude. He's ready for the world-class, world-level guys, because that's what that's who's going to be able to stand in there with him and give him something in return, something to be worried about. Here's a dude, an Olympian, an undefeated fighter, and the dude was just clueless. He didn't know what to do. So, like I said, that's indicative of Jaron's level. And I'm hoping that, like I said, and they talked about it last night, I'm hoping that at some point in time, the two old school dudes or the two champions can resolve their business and get out of the way and let this dude come through and do whatever he's gonna do in the division. Moving on to the main event with Jermell Charlo, who was a unified champion, against Castãno, who had the WBO belt, super welterweight. 10th round knockout for Charlo. What a fight. Just, all the violence that you would like. I really wasn't sure how Charlo was going to do it, but I thought, I was confident that he could get it done. I thought Castãno was taking big shots early, and he was reacting to him a little differently. He kept getting caught, squared up, really wasn't able to get inside and cleanly and do what he likes to do. He was paying a toll, he was paying a toll for what he was trying to get done. I did think before it got stopped, I thought he was building a little bit of momentum, but in doing so, he was kind of playing into the hands of Charlo. And like I said, he's not gonna beat you with his brains. He's not gonna really outbox you. Charlo is just gonna try harder. He's gonna fight harder. That's kind of his mentality. So I was wondering, what he would do. I was gonna talk about earlier in the week the rematch between Floyd and Maidana. And knowing that Charlo doesn't fight the way that Floyd fights, but what will he be able to change up against a guy, who's a volume and pressure guy with decent power? And he did it his way. But just a great fight, man. I'm not even gonna sit here and try to mess it up by giving all my thoughts on it. I just enjoyed the hell out of the fight. Great effort from Castãno. I like the fact after the fight, he gave a lot of praise to Charlo. Charlo was, and I thought, with it being some animosity there, no fouls, no BS. It was fighting. It was two dudes just trying to go for it, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. So, shout out to Charlo for becoming the first undisputed champion of the division, the 7th one, I believe, in the 4-belt era. It gets a little difficult to think what direction he goes in next. I mean, he probably doesn't want to fool with a dude like Fundora. What does Fundora bring to the table? I don't know. Tim Tszyu. I'll probably see that fight happening first. And Tszyu's he's still young. Kind of, we saw some things with him in the Gaucher fight. But he's just a different kind of Castãno, maybe a little bigger, a little taller. But I don't know. Does he move up to middleweight and get started up there along with his brother? I don't know. We'll see. But just a hell of a fight, man. That's the type of fights that I'm always hopeful that casuals or non-boxing fans would see something like that. We didn't have to worry about no messed up judging. Like I said, it wasn't no BS. It was all just great fighting. And I think that's the type of fight that could bring new eyes into the sport. But then again, a newcomer is like, why is it 4 belts and why and all that shit? So I don't know, but I enjoyed the hell out of the fight. Obviously, Showtime is getting ready to get cooking for the next several weeks with I think they said like 5 or 6 weeks of consecutive weeks of fighting and whatnot. Benavidez and Lemieux should be pretty good. So that's it, man. I'm going to leave it right there. Let me jump on. It was 11 minutes. I hope you enjoyed it. Crazy to see what could happen next for Jaron Ennis when you take apart, a guy at Clayton's level. We haven't seen a lot of Clayton, but still to be taken apart the way that he was, as quick as he was. Like I said, we don't have many other dudes standing around to put in with Ennis before he just needs a shot at the title. It's no other way to look at it. So that's it. Let me get on out here. Bite down, box. Don't let them count you out. Have a phenomenal week. I'm out. Peace.